Before I begin the video, I just want to start with a little question for you. So I want you to imagine waking up one day and having to go to the doctor. And you go to the doctor, they're kind of weird, and you end up having some procedure done. And when you come out of surgery and you're fully alert and awake and aware, and a couple days later, you're having hot flashes, chills, you don't feel so good, they're telling you to rest, don't move. And you discover that the simple procedure you thought you were going in for was actually a hysterectomy. And now someone else has decided for you, without a conversation with you or your permission or even your knowledge, that you are never going to have children, no matter what you think you want. I want you to think about that. And think about how horrifying that is. And if you are middle-aged or older, this may not mean as much to you, but I want you to imagine, if not you, then imagine that this is a woman that you love, your sister, your wife, your girlfriend, your niece, your best friend. I woke up this morning and first thing this morning in my newsfeed is a whistleblower who apparently has sounded the alarm that forced sterilization is occurring in the ICE detention centers. Now, there are those people who think that this is not so bad. I mean, there are some awful people who would think that. But it's also important to understand, if you're not aware, and many people aren't, that eugenics, or forced sterilization of women, is a part of U.S. history and has gone on as early as the 1980s, or as recently as the 1980s. And primarily, it has been specifically focused and targeted at female minorities, women who are considered unstable, right? If you had a nervous breakdown or were committed involuntarily because you weren't crazy, you were just angry, right? Hysterical. They would sterilize you there too because you were unstable. People who are considered feeble-minded, right? Which back in the day could also include things like dyslexia, right? You could be sterilized and you had no choice in the matter because you weren't likely to produce desirable children, right? Or citizens for the country. Now, and this has gone on all up into, I believe, the 80s, where they were actually doing the same thing, forced sterilization, meaning doing this without full informed consent to California inmates, okay? And it's not just limited to women. There have been many instances in our country where we've also done this to men, and it's been legal. It's been a federal law that's been fought and challenged and turned over and keeps popping up in odd places. And now we're doing it again to these poor, vulnerable people who are in such desperate lives and such dire straits that they've risked life and limb just to get here on foot. And now this, they're having literally their uteruses ripped out from inside them. And if you've never had or known anybody who's ever had a partial hysterectomy or a full hysterectomy, it's not okay. It will send you into menopause like that. All right, full on, like getting slammed into a brick wall menopause. And you have to have hormones to level that out and get you through that. It causes all kinds of problems. It's not ideal. So I will put some links in the comments below so you guys can see and read for yourself what's hitting the news wires today, and also some links to articles about the history of eugenics. And interesting factoid, the eugenics, the whole sterilizing everybody except the desirable people, are doing it here in the United States, in California, originally, is what inspired the Nazis. They were not the first. They just did it more on a larger scale and more open, brazen level. So this is where we're at today, and I'm saying all this because I want you guys to really think about this and really let it sink in and hit home, because this is serious. This is an attack on women and the future and our children and our future children, okay? And it won't end. It's not about race. It's about a small group of people who are in positions to make policy and enforce policy that are deciding who they want as a member of their clubs. So even if you're white and you're thinking, well, this is never going to apply to me. No, it could. It could. And if not you, it could be somebody you love. Because remember, there was a time we were sterilizing people because they were hysterical, you know, or they were involuntarily committed to an insane asylum based on somebody else's word that they were crazy. All right. there are many, many reasons you could end up in this position, and all of it has to do with a few select people who are deciding for everybody else who gets to have babies now and in the future, without your choice, without a conversation with you, without you understanding the full impact of this, and specifically 98% of the time targeting women. I mean, if you were really worried about population control, we'd start with vasectomies, because one batch of sperm will produce lots of babies. So a vasectomy and putting stuff in a sperm bank will do more for population control than removing the baby carriage so that you can never physically have children again. All right, because a woman can only have one baby at a time, maybe two, maybe three, right? But as a general rule, most women only have one baby at a time, and it takes almost a year for that baby to develop and come out healthy and safe. And even then, it's a questionable proposition how safe and healthy this is going to be. We don't know, right? This is why childbirth is so expensive in the hospitals. So this is not about population control. This is absolutely about the people in positions of power and their vanity and conceit, and who they think are okay to be members of their club, meaning upright breathing and above ground. And it's about misogyny. It's about hating women. And it's about keeping women terrified, you know, and aware of how vulnerable they are to abuses of power by other people. The things that people do to our bodies, you know, is a display of power and aggression against us to remind us how powerful we're not. So, with that said, this is what I was making this video also to let you guys know I am taking the month of October off. I will not be doing videos for the month of October because this is beyond the pale. I can't do this anymore, and I cannot participate in entertainment or leisure or with groups of astrologers that are like, oh, red pill, blue pill, you know, oh, MAGA, or wait, oh my. I can't be party to those kinds of people. They cannot be my peers. I'm really struggling right now because many of these so-called YouTube astrologers are exactly that, right? Oh, take the red pill. And we've got a real crisis on our hands. This is not a test. This is a full 5-alarm fire, and we all need to pay attention. Elections are coming up in November. We all need to vote, and you all need to get out there and have these conversations with the people that you love and get them to vote, because now it is a full-on return to attacking women's bodies, full-on attacking women's bodies. They are removing uteruses from women without telling them why, you know, or even that they're doing it. They're not even knowing what's happening until afterwards, right? And if they'll do it to them, they're going to do it to you. They're going to do it to your daughters. They're going to do it to your nieces. They're going to do it to your wives, your sisters. They're going to do it to anybody that they feel is not good enough for them. And don't kid yourself. Not being good enough for them may include you too, or someone you love. So I'm going to go because I'm going to burst into tears again. But this is important. You guys need to pay attention, right? And you need to vote. You really, really, for the love of freaking God, stop messing around with this stupid horse nonsense, conspiracy theory, red pill, MAGA BS, right? And, oh, I don't follow politics. Oh, I don't watch the news. Listen, if you're not paying attention, life's going to happen to you, and you don't get to complain about what you get, because you had a chance to pay attention, participate, and change the direction of the ship, and you didn't. So you don't get to call yourself a metaphysician if you're buying into this. You don't get to complain about the policies and the legacies that we end up with and your children end up living with, because you didn't want to watch politics. You didn't want to pay attention. You thought they were all the same people. All politicians are the same. You know, because you decided to defend and excuse an entire administration and its leader, okay, for everything because you weren't paying attention. I'm at my limit. I'm at my limit. I will be back in November. I may have written horoscopes up for October, maybe, so you can check the blog. But other than that, there will be no October video. So check the links below so you can get a history lesson and you can get links to what's actually happening. This is not a test. This is not a drill. This is not some fake news, MAGA Republican conspiracy theory pablum, because I've got nothing better to do. Believe me, I got plenty to do, and making up nonsense to alarm people is not it. And I care, and you should too. See you guys in November.